Hello everyone and welcome to another week of Road to VGC or Road to TCG Worlds 2016. Now, I announced last week that I was using Lucario Crobat because I didn't have time to put up the poll last Wednesday. I'll be sure to put it up very early next Wednesday to ensure nobody misses out and you guys can choose what deck I use next week. And given how City Championships are right around the corner and they can either be standard or expanded, and I would assume most of them will be standard, I will be focusing very heavily on the standard format for now. I know I said I would try not to leave 2 weeks of the same format in a row, but I don't see a point in playing expanded at the moment, especially because I do want to do well at my own city championships, and I know for a fact they will all be standard format, so I'll stick with that for now. Now let's go over this deck real quickly. We have Lucario EX as our main attacker, pretty beefy 100 HP EX Pokemon. Missile Jab allows you to go through Crobat's Resistance and Zubat and Golbat, also Hawluchas, opposing Hawluchas. And Corkscrew Smash is really the best attack for Lucario. It not only deals a lot of damage when combined with Strong Energy and Fighting Stadium and Muscle Band, but it allows you to draw more cards and have access to follow-up things like Lysanders and Versus Seekers to make sure you have good board position. Now for support, we have the Crobat line, a 4-3-2 Crobat line, which I'm sure a lot of you will be familiar. You're using Golbat, Sneaky Bite, and Crobat's Surprise Bite in order to stack up more damage onto your opponent's Pokemon and hopefully get some good KOs that way. And they both support Lucario and Hawlucha pretty well to take KOs on smaller EX Pokemon like Shamans. So with Flying Press and Shining Spirit as an ability, you can take KOs on Shamans pretty easily. And the first attack of Lucario also doesn't apply resistance, so you get very happy with this deck when you see a Shaman come into play. Now that's it for support Pokemon. You really don't expect Hawlucha to survive for long with low HP. It's really there to even out the price trade-off, to make sure your opponent has to go through more than 3 Pokemon EXs, and for just free retreat support and all of that. And finally we have 2 Shaman EX, which of course allow you to draw more cards and is pretty much a staple in any deck in standard. Now as far as supporters go, we have the standard 4 Sycamore, we have 2 Birch's Observations. You can use Shauna if you really want to, but I've grown fond of Birch despite the 4 card drawback. And we have 4 Korinas, of course, because it's probably the second best supporter for fighting based decks, as it allows you to get out a Pokemon and a trainer, which could be a Versus Seeker to help you draw more cards, could be the crucial level ball you need for an extra Sneaky Bite, could be an Enhanced Hammer to better your board position, could be the red card, of course, which you guys know if you watch the Mienshao videos that I really like, and possibly get you energy as well with Professor's Letter. So I really like having 4 of these. It really helps speed up the deck. And aside from that, for support we have 2 Lysanders, which is pretty standard, and 1 AC, which can be nice to recover Shaman to your hand and draw more cards, to heal or to save Lucario from getting KO'd, but most importantly to recycle the Crobat line with an 100% success rate, because I know a lot of people like running Super Scoop Ups. I personally don't like depending on flippy cards. There is space in this deck, I guess, to run Super Scoop Ups, but I'm not really a big fan of the card. And finally we have 4 Versus Seekers. To reuse all those supporters, we have 3 Ultra Balls and 3 Level Balls in order to search all of our Pokemon, 2 Enhanced Hammers to help control the board, the Professor's Letter, which I already mentioned, and the other card that stands out is Sacred Ash, because a lot of the times you end up discarding Crobats and Golbats early on if you can't find the Zubats with Sycamore, so this allows you to ensure you can have a healthy Crobat line throughout throughout any game. And finally we have 3 muscle bands to increase our damage output, 3 fighting stadiums for the very same reason, and 4 strong energy, which are pretty amazing when combined with Hawlucha and Lucario, and 5 basic energy because you can't run more than 4 strong. So with that in mind, I'm just gonna save the deck because I just made one small change before I started recording, and we'll start looking for our first 2 battles with this deck. Hopefully we'll do better than last week, where we started off pretty strong, but we closed out the week pretty weakly, to be honest. The deck started having a lot of draw issues, and I might regret not having Trainer's Mail in here, just the one perhaps, but we'll adjust as we go along. I'm not against making changes throughout the week to the deck, and a lot of you guys ask for the lists and in VGC for the teams. In every single video I upload, the deck list I use or the team I use will be in the description. At the bottom part of the description, it will always be there. So if you're interested in seeing the lists, please have a look there because they will always be there. Now we start off with a decent hand. We start off with the red card. Unfortunately we aren't going first. So at least I'll get to draw some cards with Shaman. Hopefully I don't draw Sycamore though, because there's the Sycamore. And it's actually a mirror match here. So I really didn't want to draw Sycamore because I do have 2 Versus Seekers in my hand. I do play the red card, no reason not to, I think. You reduce your opponent's hand size, you might make it so he's stuck from the very beginning. And wow, I draw 2 more Lucario EXs. So I'm not entirely sure if I want to bench the third one. I think 2 will be more than enough. What I would really like is to get a couple of Zubat down. So I'm gonna attach the energy to Lucario. No need to attach to Hawlucha because I'd rather have a strong energy on it, especially since we're both running Fighting Stadium, so once either of us plays it down, it'll stick, probably, I'm assuming that. So I'm gonna get rid of my third Lucario. That might be a mistake, but at this point in the game, I don't know, and I think getting Zubats into play is a lot more important. Now, there's one Zubat, and presumably I could get another one down, or I could go get Shaman as well. Although Hawlucha could be pretty important as well. Yeah, I'm gonna bench the Hawlucha. I'm gonna retreat for the other Hawlucha just in case my opponent pulls something weird and he can get a KO so that I save my muscle band, and I'm gonna pass here. I do have the option to get energy next turn. What I can't get is the Fighting Stadium or the Strong in order to KO this Shaman. My opponent plays the Megaphone, but as you can see, he didn't do anything besides play the Megaphone, so I'm pretty sure he's stuck right now. That red card is putting in work for sure. Now at this rate, I'm gonna Karina. I won't, or do I? No, I won't get the Hawlucha. No, I will, just to make my deck thinner. And I'm honestly not entirely sure what I want here. Do I want to get more energy into play? Yeah, I think I want more energy into play. Yeah, definitely. More energy. I could have gone for a Versus Seeker to get Sycamore next turn. I could have gone for a Muscle Band, but I think getting energy and using Corkscrew Smash is the right play here. Gonna retreat for Lucario. I'm gonna evolve Golbat and put 20 damage on Zubat. If he doesn't evolve, I have a KO with Crobat, and he seems to be in a very bad position here. I kind of want to use the Ultra Ball just to draw more cards with Corkscrew Smash, but I'm not sure if discarding the third Hawlucha is a great idea. I will do it though, and I won't get anything, just so I can draw an extra card from Corkscrew Smash. I only do 40 damage to Shaman, but in these cards I had the possibility to draw Muscle Bands, Fighting Stadiums, Strong Energies. Didn't draw anything. I do have the Karina for the Muscle Band, but look at this. My opponent just draw passes, which is great. We have another prize here, or a first prize on Zubat, and we can actually just take the KO with Somersault Kick. Is that something I want to do, or do I want to damage Lucario instead? I think I do want the KO here. Gonna Karina for a Versus Seeker this time around. Where are you guys? Yeah, my last Versus Seeker, because as you may remember, I discarded 2 in the very beginning. And that way I'll be all set for next turn. And yeah, 100 minus 20, that's 80, plus the 40, yep, that's a KO on Shaman. So we got 3 prizes this turn. My opponent's max damage output is with a Strong Energy and a Fighting Stadium to take a KO on us, and it's unfortunate that this match, if my opponent simply passes, it really won't showcase what a mirror match would look like in a standard setting. But the fact that red card is a thing, games like this could happen more often than not, you know. Red card is a thing. Last week I got pounded by 2 of them in one of the games in a Niveltal deck, not in a Lucario deck or any fighting deck of any sort. And I honestly think my opponent is just going to lag out here. I hope he doesn't do the thing where he waits until 1 second and then he resumes, which looks like he's doing that. If he does, I will concede, but I'll count it as a win, of course. Okay, no, so he topped the Karina, so he was just thinking. No issue there. We'll see what he gets. At least he'll make the game a bit longer. We do have the Enhanced Hammer for any Strong Energy he plays down. We have the Fighting Stadium to do more damage ourselves. What I would love to have here is AZ in order to reuse Crobat, or have an extra bench space for Zubat. He goes after Shaman here. I can understand why he does that. He got rid of 2 Lucarios though, so does that mean he's going to focus solely on Crobat from now on? I would guess so. Now, I think my best bet here... I can't Karina and Lysander in the same turn. He did do max damage output though, this time around. What do I want to do here? Could Lysander Shaman and Enhance Hammer away the Strong Energy? That way, if he wants to retreat the Shaman, he can't, because he would have to attach to retreat. But I'm not entirely sure that's the best play. I would love to be able to discard these 2 Zubats to be able to get the maximum output of Sacred Ash. Thing is, if I Sycamore, that's a lot of things I'm Sycamoring, and I don't really want to do that just yet. I'm thinking. I like the Lysander Enhanced Hammer play. It's a bit conservative, but it does leave my opponents in an awkward position here. So I'm gonna Enhance Hammer, gonna Lysander the Shaman, and even if he retreats the Shaman, I'll have access to Crobats or a Golbat eventually in order to snipe it. And there's the victory. So yeah, my opponent's hand probably didn't improve too much, and he was very behind on energy drops. I wasn't going to get any further in energy drops after this turn or during this turn, but pretty happy with how that played out. Once again, like in Mienshao week, red card coming through, guys. Red card is a thing. Hopefully, I do believe I have a... Well, there's a league challenge next weekend, but I have a wedding next weekend. So this week I'll be very hard pressed to get everything ready and schedule everything correctly before next week. I hadn't realized that it's gonna be a very high work rate week. I'm really gonna have to make every hour count between work and my girl and and the videos. I think I might have overextended when I started doing 3 videos per day, but as long as I can keep this up and I have fun, I'm gonna keep doing it. The second it stops being fun, then I'll stop. But for now, I'm really enjoying it. And now we're up against an Yveltal deck. So I'm pretty happy seeing that. I don't mind at all. I think Hawlucha will be pretty important, but so could Lucario. But Hawlucha is a better follow-up to this first Lucario. And there's the victory. Okay, so that game obviously doesn't count. My opponent's hand probably sucked. I don't know why you would concede right away otherwise. And I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of the times, like last week we lost a lot, but there were other games where we were down 1-6 in prices and we managed to come back. So especially if you're practicing on the trading card game online, don't concede right away. Try to play it out a little bit, because you never know. Your opponent might misplay, he might get stuck, you might draw what you need. It's always about looking for your win condition. That's the main focus you have to have during any sort of game. Now, hopefully, I don't like my hand for sure. We're in the same situation where, wow, and my opponent can actually KO me turn 1. It's a Crobat Latios EX deck. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna do as much as possible in order to just retreat, attach, and muscle band. We'll see how this plays out. I like that deck, and with Crobat he has an inherent advantage against our Lucarios, but I think that deck fizzles down a lot if you don't get like a super turn 1 or turn to win. I'm sorry I'm yawning so much, guys. I really am sorry. I've had a rough week for sure. Today is Sunday. I'm recording Monday's video, and it really has been a rough week, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna go get Lucario right away. He's already filled up his bench, so I'm not too afraid of Crobat anymore. I do have the enhanced hammer, and I like my position a lot more now. I will birch this turn, just to be a bit more conservative. I don't know if using the Sycamore was the right play, but there's another Versus Seeker, so that's pretty okay. And I think I want to get another Subats. I can cycle through Hawluchas easier than I can get Subats down. So yeah, looking pretty good actually. That was, despite only getting 4 cards from Birch, that was not a terrible Birch. I'm pretty happy with that, with how that turn 1 played out for us. I'm thankful my opponent didn't get the KO. I like that there's a double Dragon Energy in the discard pile already, and my opponent was forced to use his supporter on Shaman. And we know he runs AC, so my damage counter placement has to be spot on. I think we played a game against, using Aromatisse, we played a game against someone who was using Crobat, and he piled up the damage on the very same Pokemon he was attacking, which is definitely a mistake. What you really want to do is spread it out so that his ACs aren't as effective. So for example, here I'm gonna do the Sneaky Bite onto the bench Latios EX, which has the Spirit Link, and I'm gonna attach. Yeah, I'm gonna attach here. My opponent didn't attach an energy, so I feel pretty safe. I will bench Lucario. I don't need the space for Shaman because I will be drawing cards. I do have Sycamore and I have a pretty good hand, to be honest. I even have the KO with another strong energy or another regular energy. I would love to draw a Muscle Band though. Drawing a Muscle Band and another Fighting Stadium now. I do need the Fighting Stadium. Megalarius has free retreats. That's pretty broken. My opponent Sycamore's away his hand. Wow, target Whistle. I lost at Worlds to a what's the name? To a Night March deck because he ran 2 target Whistles. If he had run just the one, I would have been fine, but he ran 2 of them. Okay, so now I have the KO here and 70 damage. How could my opponent do 70 damage next turn? He could attach a Muscle Band to this Latios, a Psychic, and evolve into a Golbat. So, do I overextend into KOing this Crobat by attaching my second? This. I do have a KO on this Zubat, so that will eliminate that option. So, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna attach the strong energy. Going to get Hawlucha. No, I'm gonna get Lucario. Gonna discard. Yeah, I'm gonna discard Lucario here. Well, not discard it just yet. And I am going to get the Muscle Band. Now, my Crobat will be onto his Zubat. I will discard 1 Sycamore and 1 Lucario in order to get Golbat. And take the KO on this Zubat. That eliminates the option of him having 20 extra damage. I will take full advantage of my opponent's own Skyfield in order to bench another Zubat. And I will attach the Muscle Band so that Somersault Kick does 160 damage minus the resistance, that's 140, and that's a KO. And now if I draw a Fighting Stadium, I can KO any of my opponent's Pokemon EX in play. He uses Ace Trainer. I had already 3 cards in hand. It did screw me over a bit, but unless he KOs his Lucario, I can Corkscrew Smash in order to recover my position here. He will take a KO though. So now this does 70. I need to top deck either a Strong, a Muscle Band, a Corina, a Versus Seeker, or a Fighting Stadium. Thanks to having this Crobat in my hand. And I got the Ultra Ball. So I'm going to get rid of these 2 cards. I will get Shaman. And I'm going to use Crobat on the active so that I can take a KO. It's only 90 damage away from getting KO'd. I should draw something out of these 6 cards, and I still have my supporter available to me. No energy though. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 energy. There's 5 energy left in my deck. Gonna bench this Hawlucha. I'm gonna Shaman for 2 more cards. I still don't get an energy. Going to Level Ball for Golbat. And I don't have the Muscle Band or the energy or the Fighting Stadium. So that's pretty lame. Those 2 damage counters I could put on this Latios in order to ensure I get the KO. But I think it's smarter to lay them on Shaman this time around. Could be... no. Could be on this Latios though. So that I don't depend... well, I'm gonna depend on Lysander probably to finish off the game. How many Versus Seeker? That's 1, 2, 2, but no Lysanders yet. So I'm fine using Sycamore here. Yeah, I get pretty much everything I need except the Stadium. I will, however, attach to a Lucha and take a KO, which I'm pretty glad. Oh, that's not a KO. Wow. I thought Flying Press did 60 damage for some reason. Wow. If he AZs, I'm gonna be pretty mad at myself. And he is going to AC. Ugh, how can I be so dumb, guys? This is what happens when you have a hectic week and you're recording on very few amount of sleep hours. He goes for Sycamore though. Okay, that's great. No complaints there. I do have a KO on this Latios for sure with the AC. And I'll be able to do a lot of damage to whatever he puts up. And since he's attached here, his energy for the turn, he's not even going to attack. So I'm pretty sure I have this game won. I should have this game won. Gonna AC the Crobat. Gonna bench the Zubat once more. I'm going to Sneaky Bite, ensuring the KO. There's the Muscle Band, and I top decked the Fighting Stadium. My deck was 8 cards the previous turn. Then, if I play my Fighting Stadium, I'm gonna attach here. I'm going to attach here. If I play my Fighting Stadium, I can discard. I think I can afford to discard one Zubat. Or the Crobat. Probably the Crobat. Yeah. Gonna play my Fighting Stadium, discard both Shaman, since I won't be needing those, and Crobat. I will play Crobat here onto Latios, and gonna retreat for Lucario and do and do 90 damage. This way, I'm down to a Lysander for a KO on Shaman. Hawlucha can finish off this guy, so my deck is already pretty thin. Out of 12 cards, I'm gonna draw 3 of them. And I got the Sycamore, so even though Ace Trainer was my opponent's best play here, my deck is so small at this point that it doesn't really matter. And I had very useful cards in there still. Strong Energy, 2 Basic Energy, the Fighting Stadium. So my opponent is very hard pressed, and this is what I was talking about. 110 damage, 21 is really nothing to write home about. I don't even have any more Shaman in play. And the 40 damage on turn 1, unless you really get a prize there, it's really not worth it. So my opponent's deck, honestly, is kind of more of a fun deck. I wouldn't use that in a competitive setting. It is fun to attack first and get a lot of damage and things like that. But my opponent also overextended on turn 1, which is definitely fair. And I understand why he did it, but he overextended in order to just get that KO. Turn 1, he whiffed, and that put him in a terrible board position where he didn't have enough bench space for Zubats and things like that. Now, my opponent here promotes Hoopa in order to stall for a turn. I do have the Lysander and I do have Versus Seeker here as options. So I'm going to Corkscrew Smash. I'm not gonna Sycamore, of course. Well, I could, but there's no need. Corkscrew Smash. Hoopa is now in range of anything as well, so we have a lot of potential Lysander targets here. We have this Latios, we have this Shaman, we have Hoopa, we have the other Shaman even, and here, feel free opponent, I'll let you take a prize on Hawlucha. If he does 110, doesn't really matter who he KOs. If he KOs this Hawlucha, I KO back with Lucario. If he KOs Lucario, which he cannot, I can KO back with Hawlucha. So my opponent, this is good game. This is good game. So 2 wins. We start off the week strong with 2 wins this time around. Pretty happy about that. It's been a while, I guess. It feels like ages since I've won on video with both the TCG and VCG. If you watch the videos later today on Monday, you will realize that I pretty much have terrible luck. And there were 2 instances where 90... Oh wow, I don't even have... I don't have a Lysander here yet. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna reuse AC then. Oh, and I do have the KO one. I'm sorry guys, I thought I had the Lysander, so I was just going to Lysander, but since I do have AC and Hoopa was at 50 damage from getting KO'd, there's the victory. So always find your win conditions, guys, and always check your discard pile for the supporter you need. I won't lie, it's not the first time where I just think, oh yeah, I'll versus Seeker for Lysander and win, and suddenly there's no Lysander in my discard pile, and I'm very surprised. So yeah, I do play more concentrated in tournaments. I do realize I make a lot of mistakes, especially last week I made a lot of mistakes, and I do get more emotional, but during tournaments where I don't have to say everything I'm thinking out loud, and I don't want to, and I'm not concentrating on speaking fluent English so that you guys understand me and things like that, I do play a bit more concentrated. So that will be all for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please don't forget to like the video, guys. The Spanish people have been doing pretty well. The videos are constantly getting upwards of 25 likes or more, and the English videos are lagging a bit behind. And hey, if you don't like the video, a thumbs down is fair game as well. I mean, I understand some games are not stellar or ideal, so really like the video or dislike it, but or comment or anything you want to give me feedback. That's something that I can use in order to improve the content for you guys. So that's something very important. If you can take the second to like or dislike the video, please feel free. If you want to comment something, please feel free. And yeah, that will be all for today, guys. I'll see you tomorrow with a couple more games. Bye bye.